What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another new episode of the Last Wave Podcast. We deal with topics like ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, conspiracies, pretty much anything under the paranormal, occult, and weird umbrella, and some tech stuff, some fun nerd stuff occasionally, but mainly all the paranormal weird stuff. Today, I'm joined once again by my co-hosts Buster and Brando.
What up?
Yo.
And we are going to have a fun episode today. First off, a little kind of tradition we've started. We want to make sure everybody's doing well. We thank you for joining us. We are very happy you're here, and we hope you're having a lovely day.
Yeah, what he said.
So, today we're going to be going over alchemy a little bit, and not just, the shifting things physically, but mentally, emotionally, internally, into a spiritual type of alchemy. So there's definitely a lot of links between that, and the metaphors, in the stages are pretty clear. You just change as you go, and it's more of a road. It's more of a path. I think the first path is what calcification. Or calcification?
Well, first, we got to understand what alchemy is.
Well, go ahead. We'll go ahead with what you got.
Let's define alchemy. I mean, it was born in ancient Egypt, and it was basically the meeting of magic and science.
Right. I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's definitely the bridge between. The bridge never mentioned, but it's always there for people to go across.
No, and then essentially it's more than just mixing shit together and hoping for the best, That's basically what chemistry is, but this has got an added feature. Now, this was hidden from us for a reason, and a lot of these mystery schools from Egypt was based around the passing down of this knowledge. And we can thank Thoth or Hermes Trismegistus for this, supposedly. But
many names.
This is all based off of our understanding of the mystery of the history, if you know what I mean.
But yeah, it is handed down, and it's hard to find. It's hidden. And that's why it's called a cult. It's hidden from view, and they found ways to get it through different messages, symbolism, of course, over time. You think about even the mainstream stuff with the Illuminati and even the Knights Templar, their symbolism, the Masons, etc. But it all started and seemed to have originated in Egypt or previously.
You say, because who knows how far back Atlantis was from that.
Right.
But Hermes, the thrice great, he was the father of alchemy, and he made these principles known 2,000 years before the actual mechanics of transmutation were even known to human minds.
Yeah, it's almost like we have a certain few people that were kind of holdovers from. It seems like a past civilization of like more advanced people. And this knowledge came from somewhere to them. It's hard to believe it was one or two people just really looking at the stars and really learning things. And it's just like, where did this knowledge come from?
It's too great of a concept to just understand.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like humans as a whole used to have a much greater understanding of things of that nature. And it was almost like natural to them because it was like learning how to walk.
Connected to the spirit.
Yeah, I think we've lost that ability to do that as easily, or the understanding, or the even need or want to.
Well, that's by design, though.
By design, right? So,
because if you take away where people have been, then they'll have absolutely no idea or understanding of where they are going.
Yeah.
So then they can be easily directed and herded and manipulated and engineered.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was probably a lot more widespread. Probably not as far back as we would even think so. It's just slowly being scrubbed.
Yeah. I heard, not to interject on this, but I
Oh, you're
heard
fine.
a crazy thing the other day that, and it kind of made sense. You know, that we've talked about all that weird stuff around the 1890s and 1900s, that time frame, and all the strange things that were happening. And the appearances of these like huge insane asylums, you know, like what Penhurst and all, the big ones that are up in the mountains,
Yeah.
and they had like horrible reports of people being abused, overcrowding, and just all kinds of horrible stuff. But these are massive, massive buildings, and I heard something like anybody that was part of the ones that remembered or were still telling certain things of of what happened were just put in there. So it's like something happened even as far back as the 1800s,
Mm-hmm.
where there was some kind of shift or reset or something, and that those people were just put in there, kept quiet. I don't know. I thought that was pretty crazy.
I don't think that's so far fetched.
I mean, so
I mean,
yeah,
at this point,
anybody,
I
knows.
really don't.
anybody who knows and they don't want them to know, they just label them as fucking nuts.
That's what
Yeah.
you do. You say that person is crazy. Don't listen to them. Listen to me.
That's exactly
Make
what
them
we do today.
disappear, and everybody's like, "Well, why would I listen to that person? Obviously, they're crazy. Everybody's saying it."
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what we do today with just social media.
Yeah.
The first time somebody gets called crazy, that's all it takes. See, and we haven't even come that far.
Crazy means to see things that no one else sees. So as long as the minority sees it and not the majority, then it's only relative.
Right.
Just like everything.
Well, think about like how many people, because we're in North Carolina. Think about how many people in like Broughton and buildings like that are still around that are like claiming that they hear God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when 2,000 years ago you'd have been hailed as a prophet. But now you're shut away. And
Crazy.
you're put on meds. But that's a story for another episode. We'll get on back on the topic of alchemy and Hermes and where this knowledge could have come from. Whether, I mean, if you go to like the Aboriginal side of it and like deep jungle tribes, they'll tell you the plants told them all these things.
Right.
So,
they haven't lost their disconnection to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Or they haven't been disconnected from their ability to do that.
Right.
Or just know that because it's inherent.
Yeah. It's the connection with Gaia, so to speak.
And the alchemists, they had three main goals as far as their work, the magnum opus, if you will. The creating of the philosopher's stone, which is a legendary substance to be capable of transforming lead into gold and giving the user eternal life. Now that is a lot deeper than just mixing shit together. That is a level of understanding through the process of alchemy on the human soul. It's because we are chemistry. So once you become the alchemist of your own chemistry, then you are able to transmute lead into gold.
I like it. Write it down.
It's already wrote down.
So I actually have a very interesting theory about the Philosopher's Stone. If it's an actual substance, I think
it's a substance that is made within the human body because we are nothing but a walking chemistry set.
But is it? So no one actually So do we have like an actual physical representation of it?
Jesus.
What? So, but as is it a stone? Is it some magical?
Okay. It was represented in the Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, okay.
You remember Harry Potter?
See, I guess that's where everybody gets
that's the parallels.
Yeah, it's called a stone.
Yeah, the sorcerer's stone, the philosopher's stone, legendary stone, capable of bringing eternal life, and that's what Voldemort was after.
Does it say? I wonder if there's we need to find the description of it and see if it says what shape it was.
Yeah, we'll take a gander. But and that was just the first goal of alchemy. The second goal is to create an elixir of eternal youth and health, not just creating gold out of lead. But then there's the third one, which is actually transmuting metals itself into gold.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all these things. It's all about the shaping of matter.
Yeah.
Spirit and matter are the same thing, but on just two different degrees of the spectrum. Spirit is high vibrational matter. Matter is low vibrational spirit.
That's a good way to put it. So, but like, as far as what it would take to transform lead into gold, I did have a theory about what they used. I think they used amber. Amber, like the crap you can get, like the solidified sap.
Oh, yeah, I know what amber is.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why, but they talk about it being a material that can be melded, it can be melted, it can be formed, it can be manipulated. So, you could realistically do that with a softer material. And it would be a stone, it would be a very strange stone to them. It's golden, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought I've always had. But if we could find out, like, if somewhere says what shape it was, if it was like a pine cone shape, that would lead me to believe it's like a pineal gland representation kind of thing. Because we've had that.
Once we get the shapes, we can understand the symbol. And again, we get back to the alchemists of old. Since it comes from Egypt, the symbols or hieroglyphs are how they represented their meaning at the time. And once we understand the language of symbolism, then the great veil will be lifted off the eyes of mankind. And that's a quote from Manly P. Hall, 33rd degree Mason, Ancient Mysteries and Hidden Knowledge of the
He's a good researcher, yeah.
Very, very good read if you hadn't read it.
I mean, that it puts it pretty plainly. I mean, when Masons say stuff about that, usually you gotta listen.
Oh, but he was 33rd degree. You know what that means.
Yeah.
So he's fully initiated.
So if we get past the transforming the lead into gold, and we take it more as a metaphor, then we start with the body. And I would imagine if you're transforming something, you're shedding your old self, kind of.
Yeah. So the idea is gold being the direction that you're trying to take, and when you test gold, it's tested in fire, right? Just like our soul.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be burnt in fire, but because it is burning away all that you are not, the impurities.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So and that's like the stages of you're cooking shit down,
Mm-hmm.
your separation, like whatever it is that you're trying to cook out.
It really is kind of like this is a completely material.
Yeah. Okay. So it's spiritual alchemy, the calcination.
Mm-hmm.
The first stage of spiritual alchemy, known as the black stage, and the black color represents chaos, that which is hidden and buried, and the material of the unconscious. It also refers to as the materia prima, which is the idea in occult sciences that all other matter in the universe emerged from a original primitive base, the source.
Yeah. Brando, what do you think?
This is not really a subject that I have like a strong suit in, so I'm really just
Got any questions?
observing, listening. I'll have a question if I got one. I'm not
we'll
scared to ask a question, bud.
All right.
Well, let's say the materia prima. Oh, we gotta love Latin. And it is until it is transformed into ash in a spiritual sense. It refers to breaking with our worldly attachments and the desire for status, wealth, the need to solidify our identity. It's not to say that these things are wrong, but according to the process, the development of a higher level of consciousness and the refinement of the spirit is hindered by these attachments. And who was that cat that had too many worldly desires?
Don't.
Dog guy.
Don't use names.
Diogenes.
Yeah, man. Who's Diogenes?
Diogenes was a Greek philosopher who basically lived as an animal, as a dog. His name was Diogenes, man, and he actually was brought to tears and ashamed with himself when he did, realized he had become attached to his only worldly possession, which was a wooden bowl.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, I
And
read
he's
that.
like, "How could I become so materialistic?" As he threw away his wooden bowl
only bowl.
He just lived in the
as he
streets
was
and
living in the
everything.
streets,
Naked.
butt naked,
Yeah.
filthy. And Alexander the Great had actually met him at one point.
Mhm.
And he said Diogenes, he was like, if I was not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes. Diogenes said, yeah, dude, if I wasn't me, I'd want to be me too, bud.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Poetic. So calcination is a great example of giving up our worldly desires. Also refers to the burning off of all the superfluous elements of ourselves that no longer serve us. We are purified by fire, as I said before, and the hardened and dead parts of ourselves have burned away. All that has calcified in ourselves is removed in a similar way to how hardened plaque builds up on teeth can be removed.
So, don't they talk about that with the pineal? Like everything is calcified
Yeah.
Yeah, it can become
on there.
become calcified, and then once you gets to that certain level, it becomes brittle.
Yeah.
And then you can break out of that paradigm or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So the idea is to pretty much, as I've been saying the past couple of days, is the motif is to let go of all that you fear to lose, because you have to surrender. First, you got to surrender, because there is no such thing as control.
Yeah.
It's only an idea.
So and then that would be stage one.
Stage one.
So,
There's you know what the dark night of the soul is?
Yeah.
Well, that's basically what it is linked to. Is the first step is the dark night of the soul, where you go through that suffering stage, and you're happy about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's catching the rainbow, as
Really,
we would
man,
say.
just to find comfortability in the uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And then we get to stage two, which is dissolution.
Now, dissolution. It's well, you're dissolving. So, what would you be?
In the process, the spiritual alchemy, in the first process, we are basically burning away all that we are not, and what is left is the ashes.
So, the second stage. So, if we're burning it away into ashes, and then it would.
You're dissolving it in the water.
Right.
That's the dissolving of the water, and then we'll take that and free ourselves from the identity.
Right. Yeah. So, and at that point, it's washed away. So we're kind of, again, we're just being cleaned, I guess. The ego, our ego is getting that.
And in the Bible, it refers to going to the river.
Mm.
Going into the water, washing yourself clean in the water, because you got to say, we are how much % water?
Like 70.
Yeah, and then when you connect to that water, it's like you're becoming harmonious again. That's why it's so it's such the alchemical symbol for water is like a big deal,
Yeah, and that whole washing, and it's the memories, you're just letting the bad stuff go. It's very, I mean, it just sounds meditative, and that's a link to. It seems like all these civilizations that had that ancient knowledge all had the same ancient knowledge. It was just weird,
it was passed down through lodges.
Yeah,
I would love nothing more right now than to get into a river. I'll be honest, I'll bathe in a river right now.
Just to feel the freeness of it.
No, it's
truly,
brutal, man.
Really.
But I think like the whole dissolution stage is like basically letting go of these traumatic events and freeing ourselves from these painful experiences.
Well, I also want to say that maybe is less about that, more about just washing away like what you thought you knew, and like coming in as a blank template.
Because the essence of all wisdom is knowing that you know nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it might be an allegory for like coming in with a clear and open mind.
No, I mean, exactly. I mean, and then that brings us to the third stage, the separation stage, the pure essence that is extracted from the rest of the mixture so far. So first we've burnt away the impurities in the gold, and then we've got the ashes that are mixed with the water, and then the water
is separate.
It's
So
extracted from the rest of it. Now it's
right.
that's literally separated in layers like the oil
Mhm.
and water.
Yeah, and it's this stage actually, just like Brandon was saying, is even related to air. It's more of whatever's left. You're just getting rid of more. You
So
know.
the first two is using the elements fire, water, and
Mhm.
now we're at the air stage.
And that's kind of like again, it's kind of like the ego death. It's where you separate from the character we've been playing, but rather we become the awareness itself. So you're aware of your own thoughts, your feelings, without really realizing that you've even had this transformation. But you're basically detaching from your old self.
It's liberation from negative emotions.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can, and when you do that, that's when you find your true feelings, like how things are really setting in your mind.
I think this can. I mean, this can just relate with a lot of people. I feel like I'm going through this.
No, it's literally
like,
we are all going through this process, consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
But once you become conscious of it, then you have the power.
I mean, like, I was reading the link you sent me earlier, and I'm just like, well, this is, you could put this to probably a lot of people right now, especially on TikTok and everything.
Yeah, like people just don't know it.
Yeah, like you
The
guys people
thing
doing
is,
tarot
like,
and stuff.
you
now.
say, like, you're separating yourself from what you think you are. It's like you become pure awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you become the observer rather than the character.
Mm.
And what does an observer do?
They observe. They cuck out.
Yeah, they
see.
do.
They see.
Yeah, they do.
It's a family show.
Yeah.
All right, so
It's just
that brings us to stage 4. 4 of 7, right? I believe this is
Yeah,
7
this
steps.
is conjunction.
I love a good conjunction.
Yeah, the process of combining the elements from the 3 previous stages.
Mm.
So,
And it's what has been washed away of the
no,
impurities.
and this is what
The slag.
remains. This is what's been cooked down, and all the impurities been cooked out, and we're coming back together.
Mm-hmm.
It's to begin a process of embodiment as the spirit begins the process of materialization.
Yeah, you start to become more aware again, like the previous one, but you're aware of the things that are more valuable realistically to your growth. Again, getting rid of material things.
And this is the stage of finding harmony. You start finding a balance in the body, soul, spirit, matter, male, female.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, right, left brain. It seems like they're all. It's that again. It's getting rid of what's been burnt away, what's been tossed, and then you're beginning to build your new clay figure of what you are.
And attributes typically associated with the feminine, such as intuition and emotion,
Mm-hmm.
unify with the attributes conventionally associated with the masculine, such as intellect and logic.
Yeah.
Why is intuition deemed to be a feminine trait?
Right.
Or,
Like
Why do you think they just know shit when you
but like,
fool
shouldn't
around
we
and find
all?
out?
well, they think they
Shouldn't
know
we all
something.
have intuition?
I think
I know, but
I
that's Sophia.
I don't see
Mm.
You
why
remember
that's
when we
been
talked
deemed to be a
about
feminine
this
quality.
right here is what I'm talking about with the hemispheres of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
This literally is the process of the alchemical sect that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
The male and the female, the logic and the imagination.
Yeah.
The logic and illogical. Yeah. The irrational, rather. No, we're just kidding. But
Yeah.
when the point is, once you balance those, you get harmony, and
Right.
then you're able to work in unison with reason and emotion.
Yes.
So you're not tempted in any certain fashion.
Yeah, you're balanced.
And then remember, there's God or Yahweh or whatever name you want to use was represented as the masculine part of the brain, and then there's Sophia, which is on the right hand of God, which represents the right brain.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this painting, if you want a better description. It's the one where God's reaching down and like trying to touch Adam's finger. I don't know what it's called, but that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I think that's David.
Well, whoever it is. The point is, if you look at God, it's in the shape of a brain, and beside and under the arm of God reaching down is a woman, and that woman is Sophia. Sophia meaning wisdom.
Yeah, like the universal wisdom,
Yes,
kind of thing. Yeah, that's where that intuition comes in.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, hit us with stage 5.
Stage 5.
That is This one, they didn't sound good. Putrefaction or fermentation.
Yeah.
It didn't sound good.
And it is the decay of the old self and the rebirth of one's true self. The first 4 stages involve discarding our old inauthentic self and drawing together the authentic elements within us. At this stage, however, we catch a glimpse of a more refined, authentic self, and this can be linked to the phoenix, the rising of the phoenix from its own ashes. So, and this is where we start getting into some deeper occult symbolism.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't been exposed to this idea before, you must first understand that the symbols are what characterize the hidden messages that are sent down through the histories and the mysteries, if you will. But anyways, the process of fermentation can be split into 2 different parts: the putrefaction and spiritualization. But putrefaction is the rotting away of the former selves as the extra is let go. It can be a very difficult stage because people are clinging to what is impermanent and don't want to let go. And it's definitely associated with the old self.
Yeah, I mean that can mean a lot of things. I mean, you could start to lose old friends. You start to lose habits. Yeah, you could outgrow.
You're outgrowing your environment, and I feel like this is exactly what's been happening lately.
Yeah,
is this process.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's what we're seeing a lot, and we're seeing an effort to stifle it, by whomever. But I think the growth is happening. I think there's a lot of it that's going on.
And then this is, once you let go of that, and the spiritualization takes over, then you stop walking in a flow state, more of a knowing rather than believing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's this more, the intuition is taking over now.
Yeah, it's more like free, like it's a more freeing state. Again, you're more comfortable in who you are.
Because you're no longer living that lie. You're not pretending to be something that you were not. You let the fire burn away all that you are not to be left with what you truly are.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to the 6th distillation. This is just like the process of making real strong moonshine. You just got to cook it down and cook it down and cook it down, and all you got's that damn gasoline. The drip, yeah. It's where all the impurities are removed. There's nothing left but essence. And in chemistry, distillation involves boiling and the condensation to separate components, commonly used in distillation and desalination. A liquid is boiled until it evaporates and the steam condenses. The essence is liberated from the matter. It marks the point in which our essence becomes spiritualized. In other words, in spiritual alchemy, distillation is a metaphor for the actualization of one's spirit.
I know the article you sent me, it had it said Jungian terminology. This state also involves.
No, you talking about Carl Jung?
Yeah. That it is and I don't agree with a lot of stuff he said. I think some of the stuff he says is just kind of quackery, but
I feel that.
You feel that?
I do feel that.
It is the distillation of one's true self and represents a step up in consciousness as our core identity is freed from any inferior elements. The ego at this stage has ceased and dominating behavior as we begin to hear the voice of our soul. So that's that makes sense. I can understand that, and that is close to the end, you're finally realizing who you are.
But and again, that's a higher level of harmony. It's when the
Yes.
conscious and the unconscious become um, um, symbiotic.
Okay. I'm a little off subject here. You know who else I think is about full of shit sometimes?
Oh gosh.
Alan Watts.
Alan Watts.
Who's Alan Watts?
He just.
He's a damn psychedelic advocate.
Oh.
I'm not gonna get into it. Just give him a look see at some point.
You can
man.
research on your own. We won't make any judgment about anyone else's research because Lord knows ours is not airtight half the time. So, what's the final stage there, Buster?
Oh, okay. I never thought you was gonna ask. Final stage is coagulation. All right, now this is what comes to mind when I think of coagulation. So this whole process was healing a wound, correct? So this wound is whatever trauma it is that, as we said, you're going to suffer and you're going to be happy about it. It's just like the idea of Jesus suffering on the cross for our sins, and that was when he was most connected to God, because through that pain you are able to truly listen. It's humiliating.
Maybe that's why they did like flogging and stuff, flagellation. Like dudes used to walk down the streets like hitting themselves with bushes.
Like cat and nine tails.
Yeah.
But there's the reason for that is because like you ever heard the phrase like you spare the rod, you spoil the child.
Mm-hmm.
Now what that is literally putting the fear of God in somebody, and it is through that pain you are able to connect and listen, like because it has a message, literally has a message.
Well,
I mean, think about it, like literally, like in music, what is the one thing that, or the two things rather, that we can truly connect to universally? Love and pain, man.
That's true.
They come together.
That's
like
true.
Peas and carrots. Coagulation. That's what happens when we reach the level of our wound when it is completely scabbed over.
Mm-hmm. You think they'd have like a cooler term for it?
I don't know. Coagulate.
That's what I mean. That's what it's called.
That's got some serious funk to it.
It don't sound pretty.
But that's the part where the process of solidification in one's self becomes completely whole.
Well, I mean, that is finally reaching that final gate, if you will. The top of even the Kundalini.
Mm-hmm.
You're awakened. I prefer awakened to coagulated, but
illuminated.
Yeah, illuminated. But yeah, that's a state I don't think a lot of us have reached. I think we're on our path.
Yeah, like I mean, essentially you're right. It's just a less poetic, and the coagulation is literally like that's their chemical terminology for this process, in order to keep it hidden.
Yeah.
You can't be going around talking about illumination. People start thinking you in a cult, which is well,
maybe they weren't.
Coagulation
doing
is
any of that.
The complete unification of all the polarities of spirit, matter, body, soul, masculine, feminine, to form a single whole. Man. Just like how your fingers are a part of the hand, but when they all come together to make a fist, they are completely unified and strengthened.
Calling a group of people a cult is essentially it's the same as calling somebody a conspiracy theorist, because like once you label them as a cult, it's like they lose like credibility altogether, just like labeling somebody a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. So there's even some groups I would call a cult, but in all reality, a cult is a very broad thing. Like everything is a cult. Everybody's a part of a cult in some way, somehow. Because
all it is
it's a negative,
a collective paradigm.
Yeah, but
as long as everybody believes in a certain direction and is walking in that direction, it's like basically a cult.
You're right, and then they're labeled negatively.
But only the real recognize the real. So if you go through this alchemical process that we're talking about here and turn your lead into gold, after this unification polarities, you emerge as one's higher self, and that is what happens when the gold cools down and solidifies. So there is your
full process
of elimination of who you truly are.
Mm-hmm.
So once you find the Sorcerer's Stone, the Philosopher's Stone, then truly you can live forever because you are no longer attached and connected to this fake character that you aren't really.
You won't be in the avatar anymore. You'll be part of the consciousness.
That's basically breaking out the matrix, like literally.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know most people like you can connect to that process because everybody's going through something. Everybody's achieved some kind of trauma. Everybody's been able to connect in some way, shape, or form to pain.
Yeah, life's a bitch. Get over it.
So
Yeah.
basically, you got to catch the rainbow and realize that pain is good.
I don't know what we're advocating today.
No. Like, I'm not.
This is gonna be
Basically,
interesting. I'm glad we're not monetized yet, because
no. Pain is good, man. It creates character.
It truly does create character.
It creates character.
Well,
just to endure and just to suck it up.
I think that was a good word. I mean, to endure,
man.
To grow.
Those who endure will be saved.
Those who don't endure don't grow.
Exactly, yeah. And as Buddha said, the oak tree does not grow big and strong unless the strong wind blows.
And smooth seas don't make good sailors.
No doubt. And what do you do with the drunken sailor early in the morning?
You throw him in the cabin with the captain's daughter, man. Yeah, shave his belly with a rusty razor.
We're at like 36 minutes.
Oh, I mean that was okay. That's good. We got a little bit of time to chit chat.
Great time.
So, we got any questions? Any thoughts, concerns?
Yeah, Brando. I know we kind of took the lead on that one.
No, it's cool. I'm not really.
But you're here to learn us by making us teach you.
Right. What
Exactly.
they say, teach once, learn twice.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not. I don't really have anything to say on that subject. I really just feel like that's something I need to explore in my free time, man.
Yeah.
Kind of at a loss for words.
I mean, is it not kind of bizarre that basically the past week, like all of our discussions have been
manifested,
wrapped around this idea, and we didn't even know it until we talked about it?
I mean, honestly, it has been strange. Like consistently over the past week, we'll like discuss something on some level, and then almost like 24 hours into it, it's just like become reality.
So that's the point where we got to start, manifesting things that are really good.
Yeah.
We can't keep living in this state of fear because it would be counterproductive.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'm much in fear of anything.
Exactly.
But the only thing
I fear is fear itself.
That's quite sensible.
And that is wise.
Well, I think we're moving in the right direction with just as a people. We're trying to, but again, we're stifled in that growth. But yeah, it has been weird lately. I mean, even look at the last couple episodes that we've done. It's been on synchronicities and just random things that happen like on purpose. I mean, it's just been one right after another. Yeah, and then something we talk about or something we share in the group chat is a huge story. And then it just becomes a thing. It's like, are we writing our own book right now? We're the three main characters.
Truly. I mean, come on, man. You spell things into existence. You create it. You can make anything become a reality just if you want it bad enough.
Yeah,
so everybody's kind of writing their own book, but how good of a writer are they? That's the question.
Dude, it's like, I know. I wrote so many tragedies into my books. Maybe I need to start writing comedies, man. But that's the thing, man. Like, there's nothing that heart wrenches you more than a good tragedy.
I love a good tragedy, but everything will be exactly as you perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
But comedy and tragedy are two sides of the same coin.
True, very true.
You take the mask and just flip it upside down.
Yeah. Duality.
Yeah. But once you transcend duality, then you catch the rainbow, man.
Mm. I think you got to keep
it's alchemy. Everything is freaking alchemy.
Catching the rainbow or not catching the rainbow, I'm going to bring duality with me because I think it's important. So I'd never want to transcend duality, because it's got to come wherever I'm coming.
Okay, so duality is like kind of like magnets pressing up against each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the only way to transcend that duality is to find the balance in it. That was like instead of them counteracting each other, you put them sideways, and now you're standing on them.
Yeah, but I have still not, left from duality. You gotta have
But
like balance. Balance is all
the balance
important.
is like the escape.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And that's why very wise of you.
Right.
The only thing a man can know is that he knows nothing.
That's
And
all
that
a smart
is-
man knows.
And that is the basis of all wisdom.
Hmm.
Don't you love it when somebody's telling you what's what with such conviction, and you know for a fact they don't actually know? Ain't that just weird to have to take that to the
I think
face?
that's a lot of people these days.
It's
though.
mostly everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what again? Hell yeah.
Now,
Like-
is that considered pretentiousness?
It's arrogance.
Yeah, I think it's
And
I
it's
think
ignorance.
And arrogance,
both,
ignorance,
right.
and pretentiousness.
It
Yes,
is.
it's all of it.
It's all that shit.
I mean-
Pompous.
Pompous.
again,
Pompous.
we go back to like TikTok. I can turn on right now and there's somebody in a healthy shirt telling me what oil is bad on potato chips. This dude could have just walked into Walmart and picked up a shirt and put it on and did a TikTok.
What kind of shirt?
Well, I mean,
What
like
does
it'd
a
be like
healthy
health
shirt
food,
look like?
it'd be like healthfood.com
Was
or
it, he
something.
might as well have been wearing a crop top.
Yeah,
You know what
but like it'll have some kind of
I want to make
eat, live, eat, BS.
I got a good idea for a shirt now.
I mean?
Okay.
It would just say, I am not a doctor.
Yeah, but in like sign language.
It's
Well,
something,
there's our
man.
new merch I do. I am not a conspiracy theorist.
I am not a doctor.
I am not a doctor.
No.
Patent pending.
It's not illegal to claim to be a doctor. It's only legal to take money if you're not licensed as a doctor. But it's not illegal
We
to tell somebody you're a
cannot-
doctor.
So we technically
We
can
cannot
be
talk
witch
about
doctors.
what is legal. I mean, we can be witch doctors.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it.
All right.
I am a doctor.
Well, do not take anything we say as medical advice. And
This
that's
is
all we're-
purely academic.
Truly.
That's
purely
all we're
academic.
going to have for today. I want to thank everybody for sitting with us. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Pain is good.
Oh, gosh.
Endure.